Okay guys, here we are. Welcome to another tutorial. Happy New Year. I'm going to show you as quickly as possible how I would grade a Sony S-Log. You guys know I'm not a big fan of S-Log because you're still dealing with 8 bits. That's why I've shown you our custom picture profiles, which is how I run and gun, and I'm going to compare that. So this came straight out of my camera, this is straight out of camera, and this is the S-Log, okay? We're going to compare them and let's get cracking straight away and start grading our S-Log. So the first thing we're going to do is leave the first node for a possible denoise later. So let's get starting on our second node, and the first thing that I would do is a color space transform. Why? Because Davinci is a lot smarter than I am. So let's let Davinci do the work for us. Let's put our input color space as Sony A7iii Cine. Our input gamma is Sony S-Log. So let's get Sony SLOG2, actually, not 3. And our output is, of course, Rec709. So we can use it wherever we want. And our output gamma is also Rec709. Boom. There you go, guys. That's already a great image. Let's compare that to the one that came straight out of my camera. Okay, we're almost there. It's still a bit flat, it's still a bit S-loggy, but we're almost there. So, and I haven't had to do anything yet, okay? We're just letting Davinci do its thing. So let's be done with that. We're done with color space transformation. Now our next node, so let's do some primary adjustments first. Let's do some exposure adjustment, call that primary. And let's just deal with the exposure. Let's lift up these midtones a little bit with our gamma on our color wheel. There we go. Let's lift up the highlights a little bit. There we go. And now I like to bring these shadows back with my log wheel. And the shadows, I'm going to dial them the other way. We're pushing and pulling, remember? So see how it acts like contrast and it brings those blacks back. So now I'm really happy with this image already. Next thing would be a bit of contrast and saturation. We're done with our primary exposure. Our next label now is to start bringing the image back after we stretched it with the exposure dials. So let's add a little bit of contrast. There we go. A little bit goes a long way. And our pivot, just move it up and down to see where you like it. I want to bring back a bit of information from the hair, so I'm probably going to lower my pivot, okay? And saturation, very little, okay, 52, there you go. I'm done with that. So now our next node would normally be white balance. Since I don't have a white card, I don't have anything, I'm going to use the skin as my anchor for my white balance. Remember guys, that's the key. So let's get the vector scope out with my skin indicator. Let's draw a quick mask with our power window. There we go. Nice bit of the skin, turn the highlights on, and there we go. We're pretty much already in the money, so there's really not much we need to do to adjust the skin. I'm actually going to do it by eye, so I'm going to add a little bit of warmth. Now I can activate that again, and I know that I need to bring a little bit of red in there. And that's it guys, there before and after, just gave it a bit more life with the white balance, just using temperature and tint. Once we're done with that, we've adjusted the skin. All we now need to do is do post nodes if you like. So we've done all the primary ones. Now you can go nuts. You can add glow, you can use face refinement. We don't need to do luma versus sat, which normally is super important because we don't really have any shadows that we need to rescue. So let's go now with MD detail. Let's drop down. This is for the skin of your talent to make them really nice and smooth. With women, minus 25 to minus 28 usually does the trick. So this is your MD detail, and reset it. Boom, done. 4 minutes, guys, done. We even have 1 minute to compare that to my original one. Now, here's my original one. It looks a little bit flatter. Let's compare it with the S-Log. Take a still, take this, and now we can compare my straight out of camera. So this is the S-Log, and this is straight out of my camera. There's a slight tone of magenta, but this is what I would have to do straight out of camera. Let's do a little bit of primary adjustments. I would just log again, bring those shadows back and adds a bit of contrast into the mix. Get rid of that. So this would be my primaries. Okay, here would be contrast and saturation. I would add a little bit of contrast, pivot would go back, and I would add a little bit of saturation here. And I would now go straight to my skin. So let's do the same thing that we did. I can see a little bit of, definitely a little bit of magenta, but we're going to kill that, okay? So get your vector scope, same as before, turn your highlights on, there you go, you see? Little bit, so use both, go tint and temp. Pull one way, pull the other. There's your skin, and we are done. Compare that to your S-Log. You can do an MD detail, and you can decide which one you guys prefer. So MD detail, go back to your color wheels, -25, and you're done, guys. This is your MD. This is your contrast and saturation, CMT, and this was your skin or your white balance. Done. You let me know which ones you prefer, and yeah, there's your S-Log.
Oh yeah.